Chaqua taposadod einst. Jason, the young vampire, felt his heart, or whatever vampires had instead of a heart, pound. Linda, the beautiful Native American woman with eyes as bright as the full moon, was in danger. Ferocious werewolves, their claws as sharp as knives, surrounded her in a dark forest. But was it a trap? Someone was watching from the shadows. Was this person there to help Linda, or deliver her to the hungry wolves? And worst of all, could Jason save Linda in time, even with his new vampire powers still a mystery to him? The forest whispered dark secrets. The trees seemed like silent spies in the darkness. It was a moonless night, making everything even more frightening. Linda, with hair as black as a raven's wing and eyes that shone like stars, was surrounded. Enormous werewolves, with bristling fur and red eyes of fury, slowly approached, their claws gleaming in the little light that managed to pierce the thick leaves. She could smell the strong scent of the predators, a smell that mixed damp earth, blood, and something wild, almost magical. Linda, however, was not defenseless. There was a power within her, an ancestral power that had slept for a long time, a power that linked her soul to the untamed strength of the wolves. A power she was only beginning to understand. Jason, the newly created vampire, felt his body different. That strange sensation, which he had never felt before, disturbed him even more. He could sense Linda's blood miles away, as if an invisible cord connected him to her. The transformation into a vampire had changed him, but it hadn't extinguished his heart, whatever it was now. He felt a pang of fear, yes, but mainly an ardent and intense passion for Linda. He wasn't like the other vampires, cold and calculating, or perhaps he wasn't yet. He moved through the shadows, fast as lightning, his heightened senses picking up every sound, every whisper of the forest. He could feel the werewolves' panting breath, the beating of their powerful hearts, and even the icy fear that imprisoned Linda. But something strange was happening. A presence, a third presence, was circling the area. Someone was watching the scene, hidden behind a huge, twisted tree, like a watchful ghost. Linda could feel Jason's energy approaching, a wave of heat and adrenaline that washed over her. It was as if a part of her knew he was there, ready to fight for her, even though he was a vampire, a creature she would have previously been afraid to face. But there was another energy, strange and cold, that kept her on alert. It was as if two enemies were lurking, two conflicting sides fighting for the same prize. Linda herself. Suddenly, a werewolf let out a deafening roar, breaking the silence of the night and throwing Linda backward. The other beast charged in a frantic attack, hungry for blood and the unique energy emanating from the beautiful Native American woman. At that moment, the hidden creature emerged from the shadows, revealing a tall and imposing figure. A mythological creature from Native American legends, an old sorcerer with an intimidating aura, but with a strange look of determination. Linda had never seen anyone like him before, but she felt a mixture of fear and hope. Jason charged like a thunderbolt, his body moving with supernatural speed. His new vampiric strength was a whirlwind of power he was still learning to control. He leaped, dodging the werewolf's sharp claws, and attacked, his sharp teeth and long nails lacerating the beast's flesh. The battle was brutal and fast. It was a deadly dance between the ferocity of the werewolves and Jason's growing and still mysterious power. While Jason fought, Linda noticed the sorcerer's gaze. He seemed to weigh her movements, as if observing her with profound knowledge. And she noticed something disturbing. He didn't seem to be part of either side in conflict. He was just watching. Was he an ally or a potential enemy? Who was he, and what was his role in this bloody battle? The conflict intensified. The wolves were numerous, and Jason, despite being strong, was still a young vampire. He needed something more, something to turn the desperate situation around. And suddenly, a mysterious glow emerged from within Linda, an ancestral, ancient, and powerful energy. It was as if the spirits of her ancestors were guiding her. A roar unlike any other echoed through the forest. It was a roar of strength and power that emanated from Linda's heart, an ancestral roar, a roar of ancestral strength capable of changing the course of the battle. The power was awakening, the power of the wolves that dwelled in her veins. And this was only the beginning. The energy emanating from Linda was palpable, a wave of force that pushed the werewolves back, causing them to recoil in fear and surprise. Their eyes shone with supernatural intensity, a golden light that seemed to cut through the darkness of the forest. The werewolves' fur bristled, their claws lost their strength, their roars turned into low, fearful growls. Linda's ancestral power was real, and it was terrifyingly powerful. She couldn't fully control this force, but she felt it flowing through her veins, like a torrential river about to flood everything. Jason, watching everything with a mixture of astonishment and admiration, realized that Linda was not just a beautiful and courageous Native American woman. She was something much more. She was a force of nature, a warrior imbued with an ancestral magical power, something that transcended his own understanding of being a vampire. The attraction he felt for her intensified. A whirlwind of confused emotions hit him, a mix of desire, admiration, and reverent awe. He needed to help her control this force, to use this power without her getting hurt. But the battle was not over. The sorcerer, silently observing everything, finally made his move. He raised his hands, and a magical glow emanated from them, creating an energy shield that protected Linda from the final desperate attack of the werewolves, now completely weakened by the overwhelming energy emanating from her. The shield was transparent, but it seemed impenetrable, pushing the wolves away with an invisible force. The sorcerer's gaze turned to Jason. He smiled, a mysterious smile that did not reveal whether he was an ally or an enemy. With a gesture of his hand, he threw a small sphere of energy towards Jason. It was an energy different from that which Linda emanated. This one was dark and cold, charged with a powerful magic unknown to the young vampire. Jason felt the energy penetrate him, a strange and chilling sensation that ran through his entire body, amplifying his senses and his vampiric powers. His eyes shone with a new intensity, a brighter and darker glow than before. With this new surge of power, Jason attacked the werewolves with renewed fury. And this time, the battle was not only a fight against an enemy, but also a test of his new power amplified by the sorcerer's mysterious energy. The fight was brutal, but with the help of his amplified power and the ancestral strength that emerged from Linda, the werewolves were defeated, fleeing into the shadows of the forest. The battle was over, but the night still held its secrets. Linda, exhausted but triumphant, felt the weight of the ancestral power that inhabited her. Jason, with his heightened senses and amplified supernatural strength, looked at her with a look of admiration and love. And the sorcerer, with his enigmatic smile, remained there, watching the two lovers from afar, his mystery deepening with the end of the combat. The real fight, Jason realized, was just beginning. The fight for survival, for the protection of his love for Linda, and for discovering the true role of the mysterious sorcerer in this war between vampires, werewolves, and humans. What mysteries did the future hold for them? And most importantly, would they be prepared to face what was to come? Would Jason's love for Linda be enough to overcome all the obstacles that awaited them? The forest whispered, now with a different tone, calmer, yet laden with mystery. Linda, breathless, felt the weight of the ancestral power she had just awakened. Her eyes, once bright, were now tired, but radiant with the strength that had flowed through her veins. The werewolves, once fierce and implacable, were now just shadows fading away, their agonizing howls lost in the darkness. Jason, beside her, was a whirlwind of emotions. Fear had been replaced by admiration and a deep, protective love for the extraordinary warrior he had just witnessed. He felt he knew only the surface of her being. The energy emanating from Linda was like an echo of the ancestral power, while Jason felt the sorcerer's strange magic still coursing through his body, amplifying his senses, making him more powerful, faster, more lethal. He could smell the forest, the aroma of damp earth, the last drops of blood from the wounded werewolves, the sweet and unique scent of Linda herself. It was as if the world was clearer, more vibrant for him now. A new reality, a reality where he felt more connected to the world, and especially to Linda. The sorcerer, imposing and silent, still watched them from his strategic position behind the ancient tree. His gaze was an enigma, a mixture of ancient wisdom and a touch of malice. He didn't move, he didn't speak, he just watched. His presence was a weight in the atmosphere, an unknown force that seemed to hover over them, a latent threat that added a new layer of suspense to the situation. Linda looked at Jason, her eyes meeting his. It was a different look than she had ever given him before, full of admiration, gratitude, and a growing attraction. She knew he had saved her, but also that he was a vampire, a creature that would have previously caused her fear. However, at that moment, her fears were in the background, dominated by relief and the certainty of this man's presence by her side. Jason approached her, his gaze passionate. He needed to say something, show his gratitude, show his love. But the words seemed to fail, unable to express the intensity of what he felt. His new condition as a vampire brought strange difficulties, even for something as basic as language. At times, his words were silent, even if he could think them. He tried to touch her face, but hesitated. The difference between them was glaring. It was the difference between a vampire and a warrior, with the blood of 1,000 wolves running through her veins. Suddenly, a sound cut through the silence of the forest. A sound that chilled Jason's blood and made Linda instinctively cower. It was a howl unlike any other, deeper, more sinister, more full of power. It wasn't the howl of an ordinary werewolf. It was the howl of the alpha, the leader of the pack, the strongest, the cruelest of them all. And he was close, very close. The sorcerer for the first time broke the silence. A whisper, almost inaudible, escaped his lips. A name, Malazar. The name echoed in Jason and Linda's minds. Malazar, a name that sounded like a curse, a threat, a sentence. A name that promised an even more brutal and bloody battle. The battle for Linda's love and Jason's survival was far from over. It was only the beginning. Suddenly, Jason realized the sphere of energy that the sorcerer had thrown wasn't just a blessing. It was also a curse, a dark energy that, in exchange for strength, would leave him more vulnerable, more dependent on his power, and consequently more trapped in the bloody battle that loomed. He now felt a pang of worry. If Malazar managed to control him, Linda would be next. Linda, his beautiful Native American woman, would be the final target of this new and terrifying fight. The alpha's howl echoed again, closer now. It was a warning, a call to war. The forest, which had fallen silent for a moment, now began to whisper again, but with the cold and implacable voice of death. The atmosphere was charged with danger, uncertainty, and a deadly suspense. The battle for love and the bloody battle had only just begun. The forest whispered, now with a different tone, more menacing. The golden glow emanating from Linda, the ancestral strength of the wolves, faded, leaving behind a deep weariness. She leaned on Jason, feeling the strange energy the sorcerer had infused into him. It was a powerful energy, yes, but also dangerous, almost addictive. Jason felt it, a force that consumed and attracted him at the same time. He loved her, protected her, but this force, this power, was a double-edged sword. Linda's gaze met Jason's. There was gratitude. Yes, admiration, but also fear. Fear of what this new power meant for both of them. Fear of the future. Fear of the name the old sorcerer whispered, Malazar. A name that echoed in the dark forest, a harbinger of a storm to come. The sorcerer, impassive, continued to observe them. His eyes, old and full of wisdom, shone with a sinister light. He was neither an ally nor an enemy. He was something much more complex, a force of nature, as ancient and unpredictable as the forest itself. Suddenly, a howl tore through the night's silence. It wasn't the howl of the defeated werewolves. This howl was different, deep, full of a primitive fury. It was the howl of Malazar, the Alpha, and the earth trembled under the monstrous sound. It was a howl that promised pain, suffering, a fight for survival. Jason, with his heightened senses, could feel Malazar's presence approaching. It was a wave of intense cold, an oppressive fog that spread through the forest, bringing with it the strong smell of blood and death. He wasn't just a werewolf, he was a force of nature, an embodiment of evil. Linda trembled, feeling Malazar's power seeping into her senses. The ancestral power of the wolves within her reacted with fear, and an intense desire to protect herself and Jason. She could feel his heart, or whatever vampires had instead of a heart, racing uncontrollably. Jason could also feel this reaction, a deep connection, as if an invisible cord united them. The sorcerer smiled, a cold and calculating smile. He had played his piece in the game, and now he watched the consequences. The dark energy he had infused into Jason was becoming stronger, more intense, consuming him slowly. Malazar was approaching, and the battle was about to begin. But this time, the fight wouldn't just be for survival. It would be for Jason's soul. Malazar advanced through the forest, his body enormous and shadowy, his red eyes glowing like embers. His howl echoed through the forest, a sinister signal to the other werewolves, and an ominous omen for Jason and Linda. Jason's senses were heightened. He could feel Malazar's terrifying presence, an oppressive and terrifying pressure. Linda tried to calm him, but the words were useless, lost amidst the fear and terror emanating from Malazar's imposing presence. He was too close for good. Jason felt Malazar's influence, a dark force trying to dominate him, a force that competed with the burning flame of love he felt for Linda. Malazar stopped, his shadowy figure projected onto the trees like a threat. His gaze met Jason's gaze, full of hatred and immeasurable power. The battle for Jason's soul, for Linda's heart, and for both their survival was about to begin. And the shadow of death hung over them, like the omen of a decisive battle, a fight for survival that would test their love amidst the darkness. But what would happen if Jason fell under Malazar's control? The forest whispered once more, but this time it was a whisper full of terrible suspense.